Hello, I'm Karen Clawson with Mid-America Regional Council, and this is Community Conversations for a Healthy Environment. We're updating the regional plan to reduce emissions, and we're talking with leaders about their work in this area, their impact, and their vision for the future. Today, we have Jay Jones with More Squared and Pastor Antoine Lee from Central Christian Church in Kansas City. Welcome to Community Conversations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you.
So the two of you are working on a very special project. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're working on and how it came to be?
So I was tasked with looking for a faith-based church in our community who was kind of tied around environmental justice, and I got sent towards Pastor Antoine Lee, and I heard that he's been ringing the alarm for environmental justice for a long time in the community, and we built a relationship, and he actually decided to accept our proposition of hosting our environmental action hub at his church. He can tell you a little bit more how he got involved.
Yeah, so my church is located in the urban core of Kansas City, in the most impoverished area of our city. And when you go to our church, you can't get to our church without passing through vacant houses, dilapidated properties, neglected lots, proliferation of trash. And it's almost as though, people kind of have turned a blind eye to it, to where they don't even see it anymore because it's so pervasive. What was happening in my community, I just started to say, hey, listen, this is not right. There's something wrong about this. There's an injustice here. And I would see potholes that hadn't been fixed in years. I would see streets that hadn't been paved in years. I would see manholes that's left open for children to fall in. I would see hazards everywhere. I work in the urban core. I work in the 3rd district where my church is located. I live there. I can't go home or work without. I want to be able to get quality produce in my neighborhood. I want to be able to walk my dog in my neighborhood. I don't want to have to feel like I have to go to someone else's community to get a breath, a breather, to feel like I have a quality of life that, quite frankly, I'm borrowing from somebody else's energy and somebody else's effort. And I just start saying things about, like, wait a minute, this is disrespectful, and this is why, and it has so many other tenets to it. Like, for example, people want people to get involved in the political process, for example, and they want people to vote. But if people doesn't feel like their environment is being taken care of, they're more apt not to vote, not to take part in the political process. And so how our environment looks, where we live, was important to me. And it sends a message to the personal pride of the residents that live in the urban core.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So how will the environmental hub support sort of the average resident in your community? What kind of resources do you think will be available to them?
So what we want to do is, from the educational standpoint, we want to learn from elected officials. We want to learn from each other on these environmental issues that we all face. From the empowerment standpoint, at the end of the day, our hub, what we want to do is build the next generation of community leaders, through the things that we're doing here at the Environmental Action Hub. We want to connect with certain resources of folks who's working in the environmental justice space. So, like Metropolitan Energy Center, connecting with Evergy. How can we get residents to connect to their thermostat program and stuff like that? So, and like I said, if we do all 3 of those, that next part is changing. That's what we're looking forward to the most.
So with the hub helping sort of empower residents and giving them the resources they need to create kind of a more healthy and safe environment today, how do you see the hub supporting kind of that long-term community strength and readiness for the future, and readiness for any extreme weather events that we might have in the future?
Last year, we had a lot of heat waves that hit Kansas City, and there were a lot of fans that were given out, right? And then people were also needing spaces, right, to come and cool off, cooling spaces, things of that nature. And so once we can sort of establish, with the community, what's available at the hub, where all of these sort of friendly places of refuge, or I think it just make for a better community overall, where it will be common knowledge that if you get too hot, you don't have to, suffer a heat stroke, or you don't have to be hospitalized. There are places within your own community where you can go and you can get that kind of relief. So I think overall, when we look at long term, what this hub is going to do is going to inform residents, and it's going to help them understand that their quality of life can be increased and a lot better as we are providing, as they know about these resources.
I grew up in the third district, so my grandmother, house was right there off 27th and Askew, and I just remember so much, growing up over there in that area, and I haven't lived there in years. I haven't lived in that area, but to work in that area and just see like the potential, and and just see like if people over there on this side of town understand that their voice is power, it's so much things that can change over there on the east side.
Well, thank you both so much for sharing your story, joining us today. I think the work that you're doing is really important, and I think a lot of people would be interested in how that can be replicated throughout the region, especially in areas that are facing similar situations. So for those of you interested in learning more, you can contact Jade Jones at More Squared or Pastor Antoine Lee at Central Christian Church in Kansas City. If you're interested in learning about our plan update at Mid-America Regional Council and how you can be involved, you can visit kcmetroclimateplan.org. Again, I'm Karen Clawson with Mid-America Regional Council. Stay tuned for our next community conversations coming soon. Who knows, maybe you'll be our next community leader.